No, it's not. The end. I'm kidding. Hey everyone, I'm Azure and welcome back. Today we are going to be doing kind of a weird retrospective review type thing for Wonderful Precure. I'm just going to be going over the characters, the designs, the plot, just general stuff. It's like a general review of the season since it's ended about a month ago now. Well, by the time this video goes up, it'll have ended about a month ago. I already miss it so dearly. It was the first season I actually watched fully as it was airing, so I definitely feel like a little connection to this season, and it is really good. There are things I do not like about it, but we'll get into those. Yeah, I just want to do like a big retrospective type thing. What we're going to do is we're going to go like by character, and then I'm going to go over some like general plot stuff, designs, and other stuff that I think is noteworthy. So yeah, let's just get into the characters. Also, if I sound weird, I'm sorry, I burnt my tongue yesterday and it's really stingy and sore. So yeah, if I sound weird, it's because of that. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna put this in retroactively. Spoiler warning. Komugi. I love Komugi. Oh my god, she's such a unique change of pace for the leads, given how she is energetic like a normal pink lead, but she takes it to the fucking max. And yeah, she's really just is a fun, energetic dog, which I do love. She pretty much encapsulates just how different Wonderful is as a season. I will admit though, she is a little bit annoying at the start, just a little bit. I think it's because like, the first few episodes just aren't the best. They have to like introduce the characters and stuff, so they're still like getting into the groove, which they definitely get into the groove in the second half. And I do really like her conflict in like episodes 6 and 7 of her like not getting her friendly tagged. No, is it? No, I think I actually don't remember. I didn't rewatch the episodes for this. I'm going on memory. I don't think she got her friendly tagged. No, she did get her friendly tagged. She just couldn't do like the help carrier an animal thing until episode 7, and then I think it disappeared. I think. Hold on, I'm gonna do this while I'm recording. I'm gonna go check. Pretty Cure Wiki. Please help. Did she get it? Media, episode this. Wonderful. Scroll to scroll. We want episode 6. Yes, she does. Okay. So Wonderful gets the friendly tact in episode 5, but then she loses it in episode 6, and Wonderful's just unable to perform help cure an animal. Okay, yes. I really like that conflict, especially with Komugi running away. I like the drama. I think my biggest issue with Komugi is that after that, she gets like no development. She's pretty static, and considering she is our lead character, I wish she got more to do. Like, there are multiple conflicts that that should be focused on her, but just aren't. I'll get to it in the next section. But like, she's pretty much exclusively used as comic relief, or as like, I don't know how to describe it, but like a lot with like the gal stuff, she's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like you know how she's like spelling out like, have fun, and like this isn't what gal would want to Subaru and stuff towards the end. I'm explaining this really poorly, I know, but that's kind of all she does. She doesn't really develop as a character. She's kind of just a mouthpiece to get the plot moving for like Subaru's character towards the end to like, get him to the point he needs to be at. She doesn't really get much development. Like, yeah, she kind of dies at the end, but like, once again, it feels more focused on Iroha. Yeah, I love Komugi. I wish she got to do more. I don't have all of the notes on her. Like, I have a ton of notes for like all of the other major characters. But like, Komugi does the least, which is so weird, because once again, she's our lead character. She should have done more, honestly. Okay, I need to get onto Iroha because I have a lot more to say about her, and it will tie back into Komugi. Oh, Iroha. She's my least favorite of our main cast. I still think she's a good character, but I think she's the least interesting. And she's definitely the most generic. She really feels like generic pink lead archetype, but she's purple. Like, that's pretty much her whole thing until around the midpoint, once the Satoru confession happens, she gets a lot more interesting, honestly. Like, the fact that they are canon is really cool, and I really like her in the second half when she's actually dating Satoru. Like, am I gonna mention this? Actually, no. Do I mention this later in my notes? Hold on.
A few moments later.
Yes, I do mention it later. Actually, I'm just gonna mention it now. I love episode 43, specifically that one screen cap of Iroha just like being really wanting to like make Satoru a scarf and this the love-filled determined rage. Like that one screen cap, one of the funniest jokes in Precure history. It makes me fucking cackle every time I see it. The expression is just on point, which is a plus for Wonderful. The expressions and the comedy is honestly really good for the most part, especially in the second half, but we'll get there. But yeah, back to Iroha. Holy shit, she gets way too much focus for how generic she is. Like, there are so many, like, episodes that should be focused on Komugi that focus on Iroha instead. Most notably, the episode with Komugi's old owner. That episode focused on Iroha and her conflict of not wanting to give Komugi up way too much when it should have been about Komugi not remembering him. Like, why was it about Iroha? It should have been about Komugi. Like, that would have been such an interesting conflict about Komugi not remembering her past life, but the episode is entirely focused on Iroha. Komugi gets to do jack shit, even though it's literally about her. Like, that pisses me off. And another one that is less... It's more nitpicky. It's a lot more nitpicky than... I think episode 38 is the Komugi owner episode. That one really pissed me off because it had no reason to be about Iroha. It really should have been about Komugi. I mean, it did kind of have a reason to be about Iroha because she's the new owner, but like it should have been focused on Komugi far more. But I think episode 44 could have been interesting with a more Komugi focus, considering it's about Fuku dying of old age and we could like explore Komugi's mortality. I know that's dark, and I know the episode's already really dark for Precure, but like imagine Komugi going, that is going to be me one day. How is everyone going to feel when I die? And that could have set up the finale more, when she does technically have the fake out death. And I think episode 49, that could have set that up. Look at me, I came up with that whilst I was recording. I'm so cool, guys. I still like Iroha. I just wish she did less. I think she gets way too much for how generic she is. Which sucks. She is fun, especially when she's bouncing off of the rest of the cast. And with how she like internalizes conflict and tries to keep the brave face around everyone. Especially in like episode 45, like at the beginning. That was brilliant. Oh, in episode 30, like her trying to like keep the brave face around everyone. I love that for her. And her thing with trying to be friends with every animal in the world is nice, but it really just makes her feel more like the main character instead of Komugi. Once again, she really does feel like she's the main character over Komugi, which does suck, because I wish Komugi got more focus. Like, I remember towards the end of Hiragari's Sky, people were complaining that Mashiro felt more like a main character than Sora. And then Iroha kind of just took that to the max, because like, she feels like the main character throughout the entire thing. Which, I still like Iroha, but like, I wish Komugi did more. Like, that's my thing. It's not that I dislike Iroha, it's that I wish the other characters, most notably Komugi and another one we'll get to later, did more. Yeah, can you tell this is unscripted? Yuki! I love Yuki. She's great. Seriously, the cat duo completely ate up the dog duo, like, hard. I really like her, like, initial plot with not caring about the animal violence. Like, I love that moral conflict, and it gave... Okay, I'll talk about this later. I'll talk about that part later. But, like, it was fun, and I do like her development towards the end. No. It was a really good moral conflict, and I like how it was resolved. Like, it's kind of a slow burn, with her slowly warming up to the rest of the cast, especially after Mayu transforms. But she still keeps that, like, cat-like nature, which is something I want to praise Komugi for as well. Their animal characters really feel like animals. Like, they're not, like, human characters. Like, they really feel like they're animals who have human bodies, you know? The animal characters are written very well this season. And the relationships between the animals and their owners, like, you can't mistake this for siblings and stuff. It's very clearly animal and owner, especially with Komugi and Iroha, but it's still present with Yuki and Mayu. Really like that, and I also like her overprotectiveness with Mayu, especially at the beginning. Like, once again, really added to the the moral conflict with not harming the animals. Like the Garagari stuff, yeah. Honestly, I think Yuki's biggest issue is that she doesn't really have an overarching storyline in the second half. Once she like warm-ups the rest of the cast, and honestly, once Mayu transforms, she kind of doesn't have an arc. Which, not gonna lie, it's kind of an issue for most of the characters. They kind of stop having arcs about midway through. Which is actually kind of weird, because like most of them have their like main arcs resolved. They kind of just have generic, fun character episodes, but they're handled well. They're handled well. I can't say they're not handled well. But yeah, I wish Yuki had more of an overarching conflict, because after she like starts being nice to animals, she kind of doesn't have one. It's just being more social, apparently. I didn't really know. I like the second half of the season, but a lot of the episodes just don't stick out in my mind. Yeah, I still like Yuki. Like, she's a lot of fun. I don't really know what to say. Mayu is my favorite by far. I love Mayu. I actually love her arc and how different she is from beginning to end. She's the most changed character, and she goes from very shy, quiet, antisocial, well, not really quiet, more so scared, and like running away and hiding from every social situation, to being really funny and like quippy and this, once again, kind of fun and talkative a bit towards the end. Like, I love her. She's one of my favorite cures in the entire franchise. She's up there with Agaha, and I actually like love Mayu. Her going from like this shy, very, not really shy, but more like deathly afraid of social situations, to being funny as fuck and just the biggest Satoru shipper is just so funny. Like, also, she is the funniest character of the season. Every joke about her shipping Satoru and Iroha lands. The best one is when she's doing that like romantic narration in episode 30. Makes me cackle. That makes me cackle every time. It's so funny. And then when Satoru like calls her out for it, like, Mayu is so funny towards the end. My only real issue with Mayu is that, like Yuki, she kind of doesn't have an arc by the end. Once Chuma shows back up in episode 31, Mayu's arc kind of just finishes. She's like social and bubbly. Her growth's done. Which, don't get me wrong, I love the Chuma storyline. It's so good, and it definitely resonates a lot with neurodivergent kids, which is part of the reason why I like her so much. If you can't tell, Mayu is so autistic. Like, she is so autistic coded. I am surprised we didn't get an on-screen diagnosis. I am headcanon her as autistic, which I wouldn't say it's implied, like heavily implied, but like it's definitely implied if you watch the season. Like, she's definitely neurodivergent, okay? I feel like most of the Precure fandom would agree, because I feel like most of the Precure fandom is neurodivergent. I'm sorry for calling you out like that, but it's true. But yeah, like, she is almost exclusively used as comic relief towards the end, which it's not as bad as Komugi, who's almost entirely comic relief throughout, but I still wish she did more. I think they did wrap it up at the best time, which was like right before the confession, because once the confession happens, she gets so many fun like ship jokes. Like, it was right before, a couple of like episodes before, it was a couple of episodes beforehand, and yeah, I love Mayu. I love Mayu, she's great. I'm just now realizing I barely mentioned the parents. Like, in my like notes, I barely mentioned any of the side characters, so I just wanted to bring them up now before I continue. I love the side characters this season. I really like Kenny and Akima's designs. I think they're really cute. I forgot like the Shy Maiden girl's name, but she's cool. The parents are a lot of fun, especially Samir. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but like Mayu's mom, she's funny as fuck. She is like elevator music in her brain, and I love Iroha's parents. Also, why do we never see Satoru's parents? I'm just now realizing that. And the old women are so fun, and get some real emotional depth with episode 44, which we will be bringing up later. I will be bringing episode 44 up later, don't you worry. But yeah, I just wanted to mention the side characters because I don't really bring them up in my notes. So yeah, I think they're really cool, and I think they're all designed really well. I'll get to the designs later, but Wonderful has really strong designs in the civilian department. So I just want to bring that up now before we move on to Satoru. Satoru is a lot of fun, honestly. He's definitely my favorite love interest Precures had, like, of the main love interest, because he isn't a piece of cardboard or Kerker. This does not count Leaker or Reeker. I refuse to call her Leaker. I hate the L. I always call her Reeker. She does not count because she's also a cure. Okay, I have to like preface that. I love Mirror and Leaker. You guys will hear about my love for those two in April. Let's get back to Satoru. So yeah, I think he's really interesting. I love him being an animal nerd. Oh my god, it's like 9 p.m. Don't judge me too hard. And it was a really good way to integrate like animal facts into the show, especially considering said animal facts were almost always used to like clue in the curious on how to like defeat the Garagaro and like how to win. And it always helped make the action more interesting, which we'll get to. His crush on Iroha was so cute, and it got really funny after Mayu and like the rest of the cast found out. And also Komugi like reacting to the crush was like so funny. She is kind of dumb. She also has elevator music playing in her brain, but it's like fun and upbeat, and I love her. But back to Satoru. I love them being the first canon couple in like the main series, like in the actual series itself involving like main characters. I think they're the first canon couple. Notakoko does not count because I will be beating them up in hell. And also they were in Eterna. Same with Mira and Rico. I know it hasn't happened yet, but it will. We all know it will. We all know it will. But back to Satoru and Iroha, they are so cute in the second half. I already mentioned the scene with Iroha and the hard eyes, but like, the two of them are just so cute in general. And also Satoru's friendship with Mei was super cute, especially considering like, towards the beginning, he was the only one taking the Precure shit seriously. Like, Komugi just wanted to play with Iroha, and Iroha was just kind of vibing. Satoru was the only one actually taking the shit seriously, and I thought that was really funny. So I think he's definitely one of the best Precure allies, like, from the main series. Like, he's fun. He's fun. He is. I do wish he actually got to be like a proper cure though. Like, he has a design and everything, but like, he doesn't really get to be a cure outside of the movie in like 2 seconds in the finale. But I'll be complaining about that more in the next segment. Oh my god, I'm trying to contain my rage. Oh, Daifuku. I am not mad at you as a character, I'm mad at how the writers neglected the living shit out of you. He is funny as fuck when he gets to be on screen. Oh my god, he is a side character. He does nothing. If you remove him, I feel like the only episodes that need to like be overhauled is like the first date episode with Iroha and Satoru. So I think episode 37, because of like the funny slapstick with Mei. Like, that's the only episode I feel like that would need to be like substantially changed. He does nothing. Yuki mentions in episode 24 that he's like a very powerful rabbit or something, but that like never actually does anything. Is that supposed to be foreshadowing him to be in the Mirror Stone? Because that does nothing. It doesn't have a major impact on the plot. He shows up at the very end of the finale for like 2 seconds and transforms. Like, Daifuku, I love you, but like, you do nothing. This is another issue I have with like Iroha getting too much screen time, because it means Daifuku gets like nothing. Like, I really feel like Daifuku should have gotten way more screen time if he was going to be like this sort of main character and like treated like a main character by the end. Like, he's part of like the big emotional climax of episode 50 where the pets regain their ability to speak. Like, he's included there, but it doesn't feel earned because he's done nothing. Also, why does he sound like that? I hate his voice. It's so weird. But yeah, Daifuku was really funny and cool when he's actually allowed to be a character, because, you know, he's kind of just a prop. Like, he also just doesn't show up very often either. Like, he's in like half of the episodes, which is really weird considering Satoru is in almost every episode. I feel like Daifuku should be used more. It sucks. He deserved to be used way more. Mei, our like kind of proper mascot. I think. Did he get any merch? I don't think he got any merch. But yeah, Mei's fine. He is a good mascot and he is really funny comic relief, like especially with his like really codependent friendship with Satoru on his end. Like the episode, like at episode 37, I think, where Daifuku was just beating the shit out of him to keep him from interrupting the date is so funny. Like, once again, it's both him and Daifuku's best moments. And that one episode, I think like episode 15, where it's like focusing on his day in the life, it's so cute. Mei's fun. But it's like nothing special about him though. Like, he's funny, he's cute. That's it. And I mentioned the Karen animals too. They're kind of just plot MacGuffins who exist to like give the Cure's power-ups. They're cute MacGuffins, don't get me wrong, but they don't really do much. I do want them though. As you can see, I have the panda and the hamster on my like bed set. So like I obviously like them, but I wish they did more. They were cute though. They are cute. I love their designs. And their powers. Those were a really interesting way to like diversify the combat. And I can't mention the Kieran animals without mentioning the big one, Nico. I really like Nico. I love how like strict and untrusting she can be, like especially at the start, like right after her introduction, whilst still being a silly goober. Like she's still bubbly and fun, but like she has that serious edge. She knows when to get serious. She knows when to lock in. Like threatening to take the Cure's powers away if they don't get a move on with helping the Gargaras. I also really like how she empathizes with Gao and Sasubu and does not blame him for his anger. Only his actions against people who did not hunt down the wolves. And I'm gonna be so real, I would be totally on board with Subaru if he was targeting any other town. Like, dude, read the room, you are targeting the town, which quite literally is like a utopia for animals. Like, this is like the most symbiotic animal human town to ever exist. If you were targeting anyone else, I would totally be on your side, dude. But yeah, Nico only like blames him for his actions and how she involves innocent animals from her garden in his revenge. They, and honestly, I think she was introduced at the right time. I think she could have been a little bit earlier, but honestly, I don't think she ever said her welcome, and she was a lot of fun. I love Nico. She's so much fun. And speaking of the Galatachi, holy shit, they are some of the best antagonist Precures ever had. Like, they are so well fleshed out despite only being in the show for 20 episodes. I think limiting the team to 3 was a really good choice on the part of the writers. Because, like we've seen with Hiragari Sky, Precure has been struggling with its villains. Hiragari Sky's villains were not great. Right, and having them all be introduced at the same time and like not doing debut Q was such a good idea. And despite the fact that once again they're only introduced like 3/5 of the way through the season, they're all still incredibly well developed. Drame is just a silly goober. He wants to have fun. He's like a kid, pretty much. And his development in episode 45 is just so good. And I really like Zakuro as well. Like, yeah, her like simpage can get a bit annoying, but I do really like her by the end. And then Gao and Sasubaru. Holy shit. Wonderful was weirdly dark as well. Like, I remember when the season came out, everyone was like bitching about it being so kidified. And then by the end, it's one of the darkest Precure seasons. Like, the fact that they show Gao getting shot on screen, genuinely was not expecting his death to be shown on screen. Like, oh my god. Like, Subaru's motivations are excellent. I love the twist of him being Subaru. I probably should have given this video a spoiler warning. But like, I feel like if you're watching this video, you would have already seen Wonderful. But yeah. Yeah, this is not a spoiler-free retrospective. I'm gonna put that at the start of the video. But yeah, I love the writing for the villains in the Galatachi. They're so good. And Gal is very intimidating, and Subaru's plan is decent, I will admit. And I totally get his headspace. But yeah, once again, the villains were really good this season, which, thank God. Thank God. Because the last seasons were not great. Honestly, the character writing in general is like top tier, aside from Satoru. No, Iroha, Daifuku, and Komugi. Satoru is great, I don't know why I mentioned him. I already mentioned the plot when talking about most of the characters, primarily Nico and the Galtachi, but I thought I'd emphasize a bit more here. It's very slow at the start, like it builds up a lot. And it's a double-edged sword, since there is a lot of character building in those initial episodes. Thank God Yuki and Mayu were in those episodes, because if they were like kept until their debuts, I actually would have lost my shit. Thank God they're here from Jump. I think they do take a bit too long to introduce those first few Kira animals, especially considering how quickly we were going through them by the end. Like, those last 4 Kira animals were like back to back to back, when I really feel like we could have like sped things up a bit more. Like, I think between episodes 8 and 13, we easily could have had one more Kira animal in there. Like, I'm pretty sure we have the line in episode 7, and then the next Kira animal isn't until episode 11. Like, I really feel like we could have had one more in there, you know? But yeah, once Nyami shows up, the plot starts moving, because, yeah, the first 10 episodes kind of move at a snail's pace. Like, I still like those episodes, but they're definitely the weakest part of the season. But, like, once Nyami shows up, the plot gets moving. Once all the Kirin animals and the Nico egg show up, like, once the Kirin animals are all restored and the Nico egg shows up, it gets a bit better. And then once Nico hatches and the Galatachi shows up, that's when we kick shit into high gear. The plot gets so much better. And honestly, so does the character stuff. Like, it gets... The scenario is a lot of fun. And they still, like, define the characters. I wouldn't say develop them, because not gonna lie, most of the characters stay pretty static towards the end. Aside from Iroha and Satoru, because their relationship helps develop them. Most of the characters don't have, like, big developments in the... Like, similar to how they were developing in the first half. But it's still fun. The episode's still fun. Like, it's not as drastic development. They're still developing. Like, they're not fully static, but, like, they aren't as drastic as they are in the first half. And honestly, like most seasons, the ending is a little bit rushed. Not gonna lie. I feel like the diary stuff should have been introduced a little bit earlier. But, like, it's not an active detriment like it was in Hiragari's Sky, where they should have found out about the, like, Skyland backstory in Elalon the minute they got the Majestic Chroniclon. We did not need to spend 10 episodes dicking around doing literally nothing before we got that backstory. Like, that... This is not a video about Hiragari's Sky's awful pacing. This is about Wonderful, who honestly has a pretty decent pacing. Like, those last few episodes are great. The finale is a little bit rushed, don't get me wrong, but, like, all Precure finales are a bit rushed. I think it's because the fact that it wraps up in January, they kind of have to have, like, the obligatory Christmas and New Year's episodes, and then they have to start wrapping up the plot. Like, I feel like that's part of why the finales are always a little bit clunky. They aren't all, like, the best well led into because of that fact. But, like, it's still good. It's still really good, and they incorporate the New Year's episode into the finale really well. And the Halloween episode. I loved the Halloween episode and how Gal tries, well, Subaru/Gal tries to turn Komugi into a Garu. That was great. Also, I forgot to mention the Garugaras in the character section. I love the Garugaras. I think they're such an interesting idea for a monster of the week, being corrupted animals, and it leads us into the action. I am one of the few defenders of the chase action. I actually really like it. I mentioned it in my bingo video, but it is a very good, like, it's very nice and very well needed change of pace. And to the people who like pissing that the cures aren't beating the shit out of the monsters, guys, it's one season. The show's been going on for 21 years. I think you guys can live without a season of punching and kicking. Like, I think for this season in particular, it makes sense because of the animals. And before you say we've had corrupted animals in seasons before, they weren't really the focus. Like, this entire season's focus is like animals, friendship. I feel like beating the shit out of animals really wouldn't fit with that theme. In other seasons where the animals were getting like turned evil, I don't have specific examples on hand. But like when it was happening in previous seasons, it wasn't like the focus of the season. Like, it's a bit more forgivable when they beat up animals in previous seasons. Because, like, once again, it's not like the main focus. It's not like the main message is like be friends with animals. I feel like if they were beating them up like every episode, that would kind of fuck up the message. It's fine with, well, it's not technically fine when Nami does it, because that's kind of the whole point, is that it's bad that she's beating up the Gargar. And I also think it was a really good, like, experiment for the writers and choreographers and the animators. Because once again, we're 20 years into Precure. I think this was definitely a, like, good exercise for them to diversify the action scenes by limiting it to chase action and non-violent action. And also it, like, forces them to experiment with, like, stage hazards and different techniques. Once again, we're 20 years into the franchise. I think it would be a great idea for the writers and the choreographers to, like, diversify the action scenes and take those risks from keeping the action from getting stale, because, like, there's only so much punching and kicking you can do. It's why I can't fully hate the Kira Kira action scenes. I haven't seen Kira Kira yet, but I know people don't like how they use, like, the whipped cream magic to fight. I will always be appreciative of a change of pace when it comes to the action. Always. Especially since, once again, it's been 20 years. We've had 20 seasons of punching and kicking. I think we can, like, afford to have one where it's hugging and chasing. And, okay, there are some action scenes which aren't great, but most of them are really good. I think some standouts are episode 5 with its terrain. Like, I love the, like, icy terrain. And episodes 23 and 36 with their airborne action. Like, the bird gargars. Mwah. Like, the airborne flying action. And specifically the animation in episode 36 when Friendy's doing, like, the help cure an animal swan. Looks so fucking good. Oh my god. Like, it looks incredible. Here are some, like, miscellaneous things. The animation at times is, like, really lazy, but when they put the effort in, it looks so good. Standout moments are pretty much the entire finale. Episode 36, like, the scene where Iroha is doing the, like, the help cure an animal part. I can't think of any others at the top of my head. But, like, the transformation scenes this season are really fun. Yuki and Mayu's especially are, like, actually peak. They're so good. And the opening and ending animations look really good. The ending specifically, the set design in those is actually insane. Those 3D modelers, I have so much respect for them because there are so many, like, props and little details all around them, especially in Fun Fun Wonderful Days. And speaking of the opening and endings, I really like the opening and endings for the season. I think they're good. I don't mind the opening. I think it definitely grew on me, but it's probably one of my least favorites, kind of. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's particularly standout either. The endings, though, are pretty good. Fun Fun Wonderful Days is just so upbeat, and I love how it was foreshadowed in Hirogaru's Sky. Like, in Hirogarism, that was genius. And it's all the fun. But Happiness Evolution is one of the best endings a Precure has ever had. It is so much fun. It is aggressively poppy. I love that there's different versions for each of the girls. Well, for each of the duos, not so much each of the characters. Like, there's one for Komugi and Iroha, and one for Yuki and Mayu. And I mentioned this, but the visuals for the opening and ending are so cute. My only issue with the opening is how they repeat a scene with, like, Iroha waking up at the end. I thought that was going to be replaced with, like, Yuki and Mayu doing stuff, but it isn't. And I really feel like they could have integrated Yuki and Mayu into the opening a bit more. Most notably in the scene where, like, Komugi, like, runs off of Iroha towards the end when they're sitting on the hill. I really feel like we could have incorporated Yuki and Mayu into that. But I still think they're a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. Also, is Nico even in the opening? I don't think she is. Like, I know she's... Like, is Nico in the opening? I really feel like we could have put Nico and the villains in the opening somewhere. I really feel like Wonderful could have used the second edition for its opening, similar to like Sweet, Mahou Sky, and Fresh. Specifically Mahou Sky and Sweet, because I'm pretty sure the visuals change a bit once they get their updated openings. Like, I really feel like Wonderful should have gotten the second edition for its opening. Also, these were in my notes. I just realized I didn't write about these, and I had to, like, course correct. I left a lot out of my notes, damn. Anyways, other things. The second half is so much better than the first half. Like, once the Nico egg shows up, the quality just skyrockets. It gets so much better. Like, and especially once Nico and the Galatachi show up, everything just clicks into place. I think one of the, like, biggest standout episodes for season is episode 44. It made me fucking sob, and I'm gonna trauma dump a little bit, but it came out like 2 weeks, actually more like a month, actually, after my dog died. And I am so glad it was afterwards, because if it came out the week my dog died, I actually might have, like, I would have cried my eyes out even harder, bro. So I was doing my eyeliner to, like, go out, watching this episode, and I was crying, and I had to, like, redo all my makeup, because I was crying so hard at that episode. It is handled so well, and I mentioned it earlier, but this season gets, like, really dark towards the end. Like, once again, they show Gao's death on screen. I was not expecting that. And I really want to mention how this season's kind of the complete inverse of Hiragari's Sky in terms of quality. Like, Hiragari's Sky was, like, really good at the start before it really fizzled out at the end. And then Wonderful was, like, kind of air at the beginning before it really found its footing and just got better and better with each episode towards the end. Like, those last 10 episodes of Wonderful are, like, actually insane. And I think that's really funny considering how these are, like, two of the most experimental seasons in Precure history, and they're also back to back. And Hiragari's Sky was literally in the Wonderful movie. Also, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think Wonderful would have been a better anniversary season than Hiragari's Sky. I still think it would have sucked as an anniversary season, but that's just because Hiragari's Sky sucks ass as an anniversary, I'm not sorry. But not gonna lie, we have like 2 episodes of Kimi To Idol, but I really feel like it should have been 20th anniversary. It's so classic Precure so far. So yeah, that's kind of all I had to say. I'm really tired. I've been recording for an hour. I fear for this video's length. Oh my god. So yeah, thank you for watching. This was a lot of fun. I really like Wonderful Precure. It's better than Hiragari Sky, which does hurt to admit, because it's my favorite season. I love Hiragari Sky, but oh my god, your second half sucks. Will I make a video on Hiragari Sky? If I decide to rewatch it, which probably will be after I finish all of the seasons, which will definitely be after 2026. It takes me a while to watch these seasons, guys, okay? I'm debating whether or not to do the annoying YouTuber thing. Actually, for once I won't. Congratulations, you get to escape the annoying YouTuber thing for once. So yeah, I hope you have a good day, and I hope you stay tuned for my next video. What is next? Next video is another Winx video. I haven't done one of them in a while. Like, it's been a long while since I've done a Winx video. Like, December was the last one I did one, Jesus. So yeah, I'm going to be, like, doing a design ranking and, like, analysis for one of the transformations, which I think... Actually, I'm not going to spoil the thesis. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!